Okay, guys, hello and welcome to Piano Basics. Today we're going to be talking about the theoretical stuff that is involved with the Happy Birthday song and all of piano. This stuff will help you be able to express your songs in a manner that is easier to feel more emotion through your music. Is it loud? Is it soft? Is it fast? Is it slow? All of that will be determined within the signs and the theory in the song that you will see as you play. There are a bunch of signs, not including the notes, that we saw in the Happy Birthday song. So in this video, we're going to be delving into what all those signs really mean. So let's start with the first two numbers you're going to see on the page, the numbers 3 and 4. They're right beside the bass clef and the treble clef. The top number 3 is going to represent how many beats are in a measure. There's going to be more on that later. 4 would represent how long each beat is. In this case, 4 represents the length of a quarter note, because as we know, 4 translates to 1/4, and a quarter is 1/4. There's going to be like 5, there could be 5, there could be 6, there could be 8 down there. It all doesn't really matter. And on top, it could be 4, 2. It depends on the song you're playing. It's not always going to be 3/4. Sometimes it's 4/4. So there's going to be more on this later. There's also going to be, you're going to see this number 110. With the image you see here, 110 means 110 beats per minute. So if you're going to start practicing and you want to get serious, I recommend that you download a metronome app, because it's going to help you really account for what this means. 110 beats per minute on the metronome app, you'll be able to set how many beats per minute you want to set it as. 110 beats per minute is what you want to set the song as. So you can do that, or you can do it slower to practice with. So now it's going to have a steady pace, and it's going to keep beating at 110 beats per minute, which is somewhere to around 2 beats per minute. It doesn't really matter. Just you're going to find a steady beat. So you'll be able to clap along, and you'll be able to like memorize this beat and keep it with you in order to keep the song at a steady pace. So now we have our 110 beats per minute. At every beat you hear, every beat you hear is basically the how much beats are in a measure. So as I said before, there are 3 beats in a measure. You'll hear 3 beats on the metronome sounding sort of like this. Those 3 beats are indicate when the end of the measure is. So a measure should last along about that much time, 3 beats. Usually each metronome is set to a quarter note is equivalent to 1 beat. If it's not, then you should set it to that, because it's 3, 4, and the bottom number will represent a quarter note. So you should set the metronome to equal a quarter note is equal to 1 beat and 110 beats per minute. So 3 beats per minute will signify that there's 3 beats per 110 beats per minute will signify how long each measure is. Since there are 3 beats per measure, you just have to count to 3 and you will hear 3 beats, and that's how you will know that one measure is finished. So now we're starting with steady pace. Now what about the notes? So first thing I want to talk about is the quarter note. It's probably one of the most fundamental types of notes that you'll ever see. The quarter note can look like any type of note and be on any line or any space. We're talking about the line that you see that connects to it. A quarter note should look like what I'm displaying here. This quarter note will be representative of 1 beat. In this case, it's 1 beat because there is a quarter note is representative of 1 beat. So each beat is 1 quarter note. So basically, for a measure, the equivalent to the amount of beats should be 3 quarter notes, because the 4 represents the quarter note and 3 represents 3 quarter notes. So if there's 3 quarter notes, each measure should be an equivalent of 3 quarter notes. A quarter note will be equivalent to 1 beat, and that's basically how much a quarter note is. An eighth note is half of a quarter note. It's half of 1 beat. So now we know a quarter note and eighth notes. Eighth notes and quarter notes will look like what I display right here. Let's talk about the half note. A half note is 2 quarter notes, and that's pretty much it, except for this small little sign and a dotted half note. This small little sign is called a fermata. A fermata indicates that should be held a little longer, sometimes twice as long as it should be. So twice as long as a quarter note should be held. And then there's also the dotted half note, which is going to look like this. The dotted half note is going to be worth 3 beats. So 1, 2, 3. The quarter note is black. The eighth note has like this little line at the end. And then the dotted half note will be white with a black circle. We'll get into more theory because this is definitely not all there is. And one last thing, the rest. A rest just indicates that you're not supposed to play. So you're going to see this little black rectangle. It's called a whole rest. That means you rest your hand for the whole measure. A quarter rest means you rest your hand for a quarter note, for the length of a quarter note. And then, yeah, that is pretty much it for this whole song. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and please subscribe to Piano Basics. Thank you for watching, and we will see you all in the next video.